Welcome to Adults Only Comedy Berlin. Today we have Adam Shor.
Hello.
Hello. Very coy.
You know why it's Adam Shor and not Adam Margulies anymore?
No.
Because I did a song about Al Qaeda, and then all of a sudden we did it outside at Bada House, and there were a few gentlemen there that were very unhappy. That were walking by, and they were very unhappy, and a bunch of them started following my personal Facebook page.
Ooh.
So I changed my.
Oh shit!
And
I had no
yeah.
idea.
Because people get sensitive. Yeah, because people get sensitive about
Al
their
Qaeda
religion and stuff.
But Al Qaeda is not a religion. It's
No, but it's they don't accept Presbyterians, generally speaking. In Al Qaeda,
You're not a
No, but they definitely don't accept Jews. You know what I mean? So.
Oh wow! I remember the police coming one time at Butter House, but I think that would be unrelated.
It was.
Would someone call the police on a comedy show because they're singing about Al Qaeda?
No, it wasn't us for the police.
Okay.
I mean, there was one time a police did shut down the show when we were there. Maybe it was the same night, but I think that was because of volume.
Yeah.
Tyrone can get pretty loud.
Yeah, we can all.
But Tyrone.
The Tyrone is extremely.
It's pretty.
Yeah, his voice
intense.
Projection is impressive.
It is, especially for someone with asthma.
Right, and
very impressive.
But he stopped smoking weed. Okay, let's not talk about Tyrone.
Who?
Who? I don't know.
I don't know who you're talking about.
I don't
Am I
know.
still holding this right?
I think yeah. Maybe getting a little. I'm just going to turn up your gain so that you can
Okay.
keep it where it is, and then whatever happens. Okay, cool. So yes, a brief intro. You sing songs under the name of the two Jews. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't have your second Jew with you today.
I keep him in the bag. Whatever. Because he doesn't speak English so well, so it's not really good to have him around in these things. He's not very talkative. I swear I knew him for a year and a half, and he really just says, "Oh, really?"
Oh, really?
That's what he says.
That's
wow, really?
Yeah, Eyal and Adam, the two Jews. Yeah, he's got great presence.
He does?
I think he's got great presence.
What do you think is great about his presence?
There's something very calm and considered about Eyal, and he's open to. There's an openness to him, I think.
Openness. He's very accepting. That's true. He is open.
Right.
Calm. Yeah, he's very calm. I think he's. It's interesting because we have very different energies, Eyal and
Yes.
I. And
you see. I feel like we all know that you have a short temper.
I do have a pretty. I mean, I'm a very.
Emotionally expressive.
I do have a short temper, but I'm also quick to calm down. And I really don't care about a lot of things, especially the things I lose my temper about. It's like, whatever. But Eyal never loses his temper. And it's really funny to see aggressive people around Eyal. I know that we're talking about him. He's not here, but
it just feels right.
Yeah. Eyal is a very diminutive, beautiful soul, and he plays the guitar perfectly. He's very funny, and it's great because he was in the army. He was in the Israeli army, and he saw some shit, as one in the army sees, and any active army. And it's amazing to see him. Like, we did this one show where the sound guy was really aggressive.
Oh yeah.
And the sound guy was a big guy, and he starts, kind of getting in Eyal's face and my face about something, and about whatever we relate, doesn't matter, and you just see Eyal shut him down with silence. And it's just like looking at him and not responding, and being calm and not responding, and after 30 seconds the guy was apologizing to us. It was amazing to see. I was like, wow, that's a good partner to have.
That's
If his body didn't gross me out, I would totally.
You mean his body didn't gross
Well,
you
he's
out?
got a dick, and that's gross to me.
Okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah, the penis thing.
Yeah, it's
if
a
you're
problem.
heterosexual.
I mean, but I'm in love with him. He's
that's
a lover.
so beautiful. I don't really feel like that about anyone that I know.
No, you never really had a writing partner or something like that?
No, like I've had writing partners, but like no, I don't. There aren't many people that I have worked really closely with that I feel like the closest maybe that I've worked with is Alex Upatov. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like we started writing a comedic porn audio play during the pandemic. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. Well, because you said nice things about my voice before we started recording.
Well, it's a very sexual sound, very bedroom voice. Hi, I'm Anna. It's good to see you. How's it going? Fuck me in the ass. Whatever it is, it's.
That's all I say in the bedroom. You're right.
No, I've never been there. I've never been invited. It's the first time on the podcast. I mean, God, I don't know what happens the second time, but I hope it doesn't happen at the wall. We're in the Wall Comedy Club.
We're at the Wall Comedy Club. Yeah, I like recording at the Wall because it's not in my house. Thing is, from my kitchen you can see my bed, so it is like, I don't know, it's a different dynamic,
Sure.
So I like the Wall, but also it's like less far for people to travel. But so my voice, you almost make it sound like having a deep male voice as a woman is sexual. Which goes against the whole.
Well, you think about
homophobia.
it, the whole husky kind of sound and voice is like, I mean, even though Marilyn Monroe had a higher sound, she was still talking with this kind of pre-orgasmic kind of kind of thing. But Marlene Dietrich and all those old ladies from the 20s, 30s, 40s, they all had these kind of lower voices. It's not until recently that you had this kind of cute girl voice was found sexy. It's never been sexy.
Yeah, no. No, unless they're like actual 12-year-olds, then it's like...
Well, not to me, but maybe Rob.
Another.
Well, they're certainly not girls.
Not girls, dude, not girls. Yeah, but Alex Upatov also he's been told on numerous occasions that he's got a very low voice.
Yeah, he does have a low voice.
Yeah, it's very low. And so, because we did a podcast...
Your voice is lower than mine.
Yeah, my voice is lower than yours. I love it when men can admit that. Like the number of times I'm like, my voice is lower than yours, and they're like, no, it's not. It's like,
but what's so interesting is that you were singing before, and you were singing in your head voice, and it was very nice, beautiful soprano sound. Judging by your chest resonance, I would guess you're some sort of alto or mezzo soprano, but that's not at all that. It's just too many cigarettes, booze, and whatever the fuck you do. That have lowered your voice.
No, I don't think. Can cigarettes really permanently lower your voice?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, yeah. When there are people that sound hoarse after many years of smoking, it really changes the quality of sound. Yeah.
It does? Okay, yeah.
And also, not only that, but just using your voice will lower your voice. Getting older lowers your voice. Seriously, you've been doing comedy for 5 years now, and so you're on stage and you use your voice aggressively and your voice and a lot all night, and you're in bars and whatever. And that tends to thicken the musculature around your vocal cords. And
okay, clarification for everybody. Adam is an opera singer. Yeah, you want to give us a little something?
No, I'm gonna ruin it. Want a perfect body? No, I can't.
You came in singing "Creep" by Radiohead, all the fucking songs.
It's the loser anthem. You know what I mean? That's what we got. I wake up in the morning. It's like, I want a perfect body, want a perfect soul.
I want you to notice when I'm not around. That is such a sad lyric. Jesus.
But it's so true though. Everybody feels like they want to have. I want to have control. I don't care if it hurts. I want you to notice when I'm not around. You're so fucking special. I wish I was special.
Yeah.
And it's just this I'm telling you, at least every white guy feels that.
Yeah, I think everybody, we all want that. I suppose I'd like to think that we can be more present and just be present and not be thinking about the people that are not there, including thinking about people that we're not around, thinking about what they're thinking about us, Like, Jesus. But we get into our heads.
Well, that's why we do what we do.
Is it?
I think stand-up comedy.
Well, yeah,
I mean, the reason people are drawn to it, I suppose there are many reasons, but I think that
drawn to doing it or drawn to consuming it?
Drawn to doing it.
You think the logic?
Just being approved of and loved and applauded, and
so,
there's nothing more authentic than a real laugh.
Yeah.
People can tell you they like you and love you all you want, but when you get them to laugh, you're in control of their emotions about you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It's a huge power thing.
Yes.
It
is a power thing. I do like it.
You're fucking them in the brain.
You're fucking them, yeah.
You're psychologically penetrating their psyche with your mind cock.
You're making them come with your...
Right.
Yeah.
You're uncovering the taboo in their mind. Mm-hmm. And then they laugh from the uncovering.
Yeah.
Because they're embarrassed and they're scared. Actually, the interesting thing about there's no difference if you look at chimps, there's no difference between their laughter and their scream. It's identical.
I've been thinking about that. I had this thought when I was writing. I was trying to write it into something, but it was just an observation that crying and laughter are like screaming and laughter are so close, just like, coming, coming and like screaming out of pain.
Sure.
So close,
So
like
close.
all like that line between the pleasure and the pain and good and bad. It's like it's that line that's
It's identical. There's no difference.
yeah.
And actually, when I first started doing comedy, I understood that like getting an audience to a place that's really uncomfortable, you're actually very close to getting them to a place to laugh.
Yes.
It's like you're just a millimeter away from like pushing them over the laughter edge, and it's just finding that. But a lot of times it's just like, oh, I'm just bumming you guys out.
I love how I can completely relate to how you're describing the discomfort to laughter level. A lot of comedians don't operate like you and I. Mm-hmm. I don't think I actively try to make the audience uncomfortable, but I think that's what I find funny. It's that tipping point.
Sure.
And I've realized that more and more. Like I wasn't conscious of my joy in discomfort until like maybe the last couple of years. But yeah, you and I both do that thing of pushing to this crazy.
It's like there are all sorts of accepted, like I think ideas that people have about society and the way it works and things, and they never really think about it from any other way. And then when you really make fun of sacred the profane the sacred or whatever it is for people, and they get really uncomfortable with it. But if you just take them a little bit further and let them know it's safe, they'll laugh.
Yeah, totally. I'm just saying the things that I don't know. I really enjoy. Some people are like, oh, you don't have to always be so uncomfortable, and it's like, but that is my joy. Like that is where my humor sits for sure.
It's definitely like there are people that can joke about nothing.
Yeah,
and it works for them.
Yeah,
I find that those kind of comics, they don't ever really get those belly laughs. You get those kind of head laughs and like But then again, I'm a comic and I hang out around comics, so like an audience, sometimes they just want to have a silly time.
Yeah, they just want to have some uncomplicated, unchallenging, they
don't want to
light laughs.
They don't want to hear about Jesus and Nazis and the Holocaust.
Or about my vagina and my vagina and my vagina.
Well, I've talked about your vagina plenty of times. And my penis.
And your penis.
But never together. It's never happened.
Not together. Not
highly unlikely.
The twain shan't mate.
No, I don't think so.
Probably not. Unless we, do a split bill sometime, or I don't know.
Well, is this recording?
This is recording.
My wife is going to watch this. So.
A split bill.
A split bill? Like where we share one guy called Bill?
Okay, let's go there. Let's do it. Have you...
Yes.
Have you had sex with men?
No, never had sex with a guy.
Have you been close to like another man's penis?
Never.
When it's hard? Never?
Never. Not when it's hard, not when it's soft.
Really?
Never been close to a guy's cock. I'm grossed out by it. Just the thought. I can't even do martial arts.
I like how that's the
thing is that
I can't even do martial arts.
I just don't like the smell of other people. I just can't I want to get close to people. I like smell that. I'm like, ugh, get away,
Interesting. But you said your wife sweats a lot. Or is it your wife sweats a lot.
Sure,
you don't. Your son sweats a lot.
Yeah, my wife is Colombian, my son is half Colombian. They get there. They get sweaty and funky, and
I sweat a lot. You think people from the Middle East sweat less?
Well, I'm Polish, It's not
okay.
but
you were in kindergarten in Israel, no?
Yeah, I was born in Israel, and my parents were born in Israel, but like their genetics are all Eastern European, Because I don't think there was any mix. Like I'm like 100%.
You're 100% Polish.
Ashkenazi
Jews. Yeah, okay.
No, I've never slept with a man, with a man,
with
any man. I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't even mind sleeping with a transgender person. Mm-hmm. Like a lady with a penis.
Yeah. I want to do that at one point.
I like, because I wouldn't even mind sleeping with a man, but I just haven't found myself in that direction ever.
You're not opposed to it. You just never been it's never been appealing.
Let's
You've
put it
never
this
met
way.
one that you're
Listen, I was in the opera world for 20 years, and there are a lot of gay men in the opera world. And one of my good friends, Carlos, from Puerto Rico, he is, I guess, 15 or 20 years older than me, and I was 20 years old at the time. And I felt comfortable enough to ask him, but like, what's the deal? Because he's gay. How does it work that, was it with him? It was with him. And that's how I lost my, no. And and so I asked him, he said, well, it wasn't with Carlos, it was Sorab, a different gay guy. Anyway, I asked him, like, he's like, well, you see that girl over there? I said, yeah, you think she's hot? You want to fuck her? I said, totally. She's like, that guy next to her, I want to fuck him.
Yeah.
And that's how he explained gay people to me.
Okay.
And that just made perfect sense to me. I never looked at a guy and wanted to fuck him.
Yeah. Yeah, there's only been a couple of women in my life, like I'd say maybe a handful, that I've looked at and been like, I wanna rub my naked body against her naked body and make her, give her pleasure. Yeah.
But
that's a very masculine take for me as well. Even just saying it, like, I don't see a guy and I'm like, I want to give him pleasure. I'm like, I want to have pleasure with him.
Sure.
But when I see a woman that I'm interested in fucking, it's like, I definitely feel more of the man. Yes.
You're like, I want to fuck, with a low voice.
Fuck
her. Give me that pussy.
Give me that pussy.
No, and then, but I see plenty of women that I don't think that'll ever go away, unfortunately, where you see women
wanting to fuck women.
Oh my god, it's torture.
Just because you're married or in a relationship doesn't mean you stop.
But at a certain point, you're like, just let me think about something else. Like, I'm in the middle of a thought process here, and I'm walking down the street, and there's a gorgeous pair of tits, and I'm stuck. It's over. I lose my train of thought. And it's over.
I've been single now. Like, I haven't had a relationship longer than 2 months.
For how long?
For like 2 years. So my last relationship ended.
And do you go
properly.
From relationship to relationship, or do you take time off?
So from the age of 18 to 32, I was constantly in long-term relationships, and cumulatively I had 6 months where I was single. I think even that's generous. So I pretty much went relationship end 1 month, 2 months into another one, relationship end 1 month, yeah. And so then from when I was 32, I think my last relationship that was like, it was about 2 years. It was very rocky, but it really ended at the start of 2019. Like really cut it off. And then since then, I've only had 2 months here, 6 weeks here, 2 months
what
there. What
happens though? You get to 2 months, and then what happens?
Well, usually I get to 4 weeks, and I'm like, this isn't healthy for me or for them, or
which part?
Both.
What, is there a pattern, or it's just different every time?
It's different every time. It's usually I'm not attracted to them anymore, or I can see that they have behaviors that are really unhealthy for me. That I can't be around, or I can see that there's this sort of, we have different dependency things. It's like, they, lifestyle differences that can't, and expectations around lifestyle, things like that.
They're dumb? Are they ever dumb? You ever like, oh, fuck, you're an idiot? Does that ever happen to you?
Emotionally dumb, yes. So even I've got a joke, but it's not a joke, it's just a fact. I've had 3 exes threaten suicide after I've left them. One really tried. One, it was just false, like empty threats, and then one didn't, but then 3 years later succeeded after another breakup with a girlfriend almost. But then this one guy I was seeing in the middle of last year, we were seeing each other for 6 weeks. I realized he had serious drug dependency issues, wasn't interested in talking about working with it, talking through, getting some kind of moderation into his life. And then one night we were talking, and he just behaved super badly, and then he threatened suicide. When I was saying, I'm going to go home for the night.
That's the most narcissistic thing you could do.
Totally.
It's like, I'm going to control you. I'm going to do whatever I can do to control you.
And this motherfucker already knew about my history. So for him to do that, for him to pull that shit, it's like, dude, you know about my history with my exes. You know how I've had to go through therapy. You know how I hate the word triggering, but how not okay that is for me with you, to throw that at me with what you know. Where is your empathy?
But don't you think it's weird that that's happened to you so many times? That's never happened to me.
Yeah, it's weird.
But, I haven't been with that many guys.
I've been with a lot of guys. Maybe it's just a numbers game. You just need to be with more.
Right.
But so like that, I would say is like emotional stupidity, right?
Okay, sure.
To do that, it's like if you want this pussy, don't threaten suicide. You know that's immediately.
Well, and that's the thing. Like that's a game over. That's like
a game over.
That's like calling your aunt a Nazi. That's like,
It's like
I'm just not going to talk to you.
It's like saying your mum should die, and it's like I've got a good relationship with her. You know what I mean? Like she's great, but it's like So I've had that kind of stupidity. But basically, I bring up this thing of like, so now I'm 35. It's almost 3 years where. About 3 years where I have not had a monogamous thing. So, like for example, the other week I was at a lake with a guy that I'm seeing or have been seeing, whatever, with a guy, and we're together as like in a kind of a coupley way, and we're walking along and we're talking about some stuff, and then I look over and there's like these two guys setting up a DJ booth, and I zoned out completely in the conversation. He was just like, Anna, what do you think of them, huh? Like you want to go over and talk? I was so unaware.
Here's a big problem, and you've been doing comedy 5 years, right?
Yeah.
It's gotten harder to date over the last 5 years, hasn't it?
The pandemic changed things a lot.
For sure.
The pandemic, I think, like, I went sober during the first year of the pandemic, which changed things. But then it was also the fucking pandemic. Like, there was a lot of things changed. And then the year after, it was everybody rebounding from the pandemic, which meant everyone was just like, life, no commitment, doing everything, right?
But I just think it's hard.
This year.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. Okay, finish. This year,
I think people are also still healing from the traumas of the first year of pandemic, and then their rebound from the pandemic year. So I think 2020 and 2021 were really. I think this year everyone's trying to get their shit back together because it was so much trauma, and I think now people, from what I'm seeing now, people are looking for that next, like they're restabilizing.
Well,
that's my theory.
Here's, not that you asked me, but here's what I think. Men.
What do you think, Adam? Okay, I would like to know.
Sure. Men, for all their tough talk and all their bullshit, they're little bitches, right? They can't handle tough women. Now, here's the thing. Generally, men need to feel like their egos are, generally speaking, especially the younger ones, they need to feel loved and good about themselves and feel like the person that they're with is treating them like men, like they're worthy, like they're valid. There's a huge part of our society that says that man has to be valid, and actually it has a lot to, and I came to this theory actually by teaching singing of all things, but that doesn't matter so much. Now, there are a lot of female comics that I have this problem that they can't find guys to date because they're much more, for lack of a better term, manly. They're like, I see no difference between you and whatever, any other comic. For me, you're not a woman or a man, you're just a comic, right? Yeah. So, I mean, you're a woman, but because it's obvious. But I think that it's a lot harder for guys to deal with a girl that's gonna fucking fight you back and have opinions about everything and talk about everything and make fun of you, and men aren't used to it. And I knew, for example, I when I was 27, I had been like I was going also relationship, and I was like, all right, it's time. Like I wanted to have a real relationship, so I understood that it's a numbers game. And at that time, there hadn't been any Tinder. There were no even real smartphones. It was 10 years ago. So there were smartphones, but all the apps were really new. Yeah. So, but I started with like OkCupid. And the one I really did was Plenty of Fish. And I realized the more I date, the quicker I'll find someone. So I think I did in like 6 months, I think I did like 100 dates.
Wow.
Okay. And I found the way to get dates online. Like I know how to do it right away.
Okay.
And as a guy. And I don't know about the world today, but back then I was able to do it. And then that's how I found Lola, my wife. And the interesting thing was, she was the first one that I wasn't bored with, and I'm still not bored with. Like, it's always interesting. It's a pain in the ass. It's always arguing, but it's always interesting.
Yeah.
It's always funny. It's always, there's always a different take. She always thinks differently than I think about something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so... And so it led me to want to keep having the conversation. But how many times do you sit with a guy and you tell a joke and they don't get it?
Oof.
It's torture, and you're like, I'm done with this guy.
Oh yeah, I'm doing the numbers game. I'm not a big fan of apps. I'm still on them, and I'll occasionally have a date. And every time I have a date, like maybe once every 2 weeks, I'll have a date, which is actually pretty good numbers. And then I meet a lot of people organically, at bars, at clubs, friends of friends, random stuff. But always the people from online stuff. There's no chemistry. There's one guy that I still see that I've got chemistry with, but we both know that we're not the one for each other, but the sex is fun.
But do you want a relationship and a family?
I want a relationship. I want a family.
Right.
Yes. And so that's what I'm currently, and the issue with the organic like meetings is that they are usually too young. Too young. So the people that come to me and that I'm drawn to are currently like averaging around 25.
Right. So when I was 25, I had a 6 months relationship with a 35-year-old woman, and she was gorgeous and sweet, but I didn't know how to handle the conversation where I thought to myself like, oh fuck, she's gonna want commitment. And she's gonna want to have kids soon, and I don't want that. Not with her, but also I'm not ready for that, etc.
Yeah.
And I just ignored it and didn't know how to talk about it, and then I basically ended the relationship without ever. But I don't know, maybe she didn't want that.
Yeah.
So
totally.
a lot of times it's like maybe they just have no idea how to handle it because they're idiots.
Maybe.
They're young.
Maybe. I usually end the things because like the last 25-year-old that I ended it with, he was just started his bachelor, which is fine, but he started late because of, he came from Iran and he had like all of these other things going on. And you look, like I ended it because it was like, dude, you've got 3 years before you even finish your bachelor, and 3 years, like I want to have tried to have a kid.
Sure.
If I'm with the right person, obviously. And it was just like, look, you were such a lovely person, but like, and you're,
And how do you feel about older?
Pardon? Older I'm open to. I just don't seem to meet there's one guy that I've met who's 37, and like I would in a heartbeat, like if we dated for a little while, if things worked that way, then yes. And then there's another guy that I know that's 33, but he needs to get his shit together, and maybe that'll happen in the next few months, and then maybe we can have a relationship. But
I'm talking about like 50, 55, 60.
No, I'm
too
not.
Old.
That's too old.
Don't want a divorcee. You don't want someone with 2 kids.
Nope.
Okay.
Well, divorce. If they're really like, if they've done
they're
the
very
work.
Wealthy.
No, if they've done like, if they're energetic.
Sure.
I need energetic. I need someone who's quite philosophically like aligned with me, and older generations. And also, it's just like the older they get, the more baggage they have, and they might not have processed it.
Sure.
Whereas, my age or a bit younger, there's that newer generation has a different openness to therapy or to just like self-awareness.
What happens when men find out you're a comic?
They usually know pretty early on. I usually tell them very early on.
Why?
Because it's what forms my daily life. And so it's like, dude, I do shows every night. Like, what do you, I'm a comedian. I do shows every night. I bear everything that's in my mind on stage.
But then they try and be funny with you, and it's always a failure.
Not always. They don't always try, and they don't always fail when they do try. But yeah, like a guy that I'm seeing, he's got a very different sense of humor, and he laughs at my basically I just if they're not threatened by the comedian thing, the good ones are interested and not wanting to start comedy themselves.
Sure.
They're interested, and they see it as this whole different sphere of the arts that they don't know about, and they are impressed by the balls, and and
Do
I'm
they
not
come to your shows?
Yeah, actually, this one person has come to 2 of my shows, stayed the whole time, had insightful sort of comments afterwards. Not about the audience really, like, that was a great joke that you did.
Yeah.
They just didn't, like, that wasn't, And
That's a good audience.
That's, but also,
They just don't understand you. You're so smart. You're too smart for them. That's
Or it was
why they don't get you.
Yeah, or and inside, like they were really closing up with that other comedian's sexual jokes, and they closed up with yours too. So it's just that audience. It wasn't your jokes. Your jokes were really good, or no, not all just like ass kissing stuff, but like this person was really engaged in the whole and curious about how it all works, and that's the best case scenario, that they're interested, supportive. Like they don't need to be impressed, but they need to like what I'm doing. It's so important.
There's a huge danger with comics, because I think, first of all, I can totally see how enticing it is for comics to date other comics, because it's so easy to understand. Yeah. Like I walk around and I call myself a cunt and a piece of shit, and I say terrible things about myself, about people around me, but it's all joking and good fun or whatever. Absolutely. But other people aren't able to process it.
Yes.
And so it's so easy to do that with a comic. That's why I was talking to Abby the other day. I was telling her, you need to either date a fireman or someone that works in a kitchen. Those are the people, because they constantly give each other shit.
Exactly.
Right? Like comics. It's a super like fuck you kind of putting other people down, schoolyard kind of mentality that all comics have. Yeah. Or should have, I think.
Or and if they don't, then they're having a hard time. You know what I mean?
I think my own guiding force, whenever I find myself getting offended about something, it's like, look, you're a comic, you gave up your offense card.
Totally.
You don't have it anymore. If something offends you, how interesting, think about it. Like, why is this offensive to me? Why should it be? Why, you know what I mean?
If you're offended, then that's it's fascinating. And if you're offended and you feel you can't fight back in that moment, or like say something in that moment, that's real. That's a real moment for reflection, and that's super interesting. But you need we need to be around people. So I guess your wife is like this, where we can throw. It's not about being callous and offending everybody, but that's part of the humor sometimes. Like if you're a host, for example, you're constantly having little digs at people.
Sure.
And so
but
our friends
actually,
need to
my wife
handle
and I
that.
almost never make fun of each other, for example. And it's not a comedic relationship in that sense, though we laugh a lot, but we always sort of challenge, well, she's always challenging me about if I say something, well, why do you think that? Or why isn't it like this? Or why isn't it like that? And so there's always a sparring or a kind of debate, even though it's not necessarily humor-based. No, with comics, it's more like I'm gonna get the point. I'm gonna get the laugh. I'm gonna be the big guy and get the laugh and whatever.
And I think that there can be a bit of danger in comedians dating comedians, and like I've had some comedian relationships, and that little thing of like fucking with each other can become a bit toxic.
It's terrible.
So, a relatively recent one. It was like this. It's like, when are they really having making a criticizing your comedy skills, and when is it just like a silly joke,
Sure.
Like, oh wow, like that, did they really like it? And it's like, fuck you, man. Like it can.
There's always that ingrained competition sense. So like when you're doing the hang after the show, it's easy to tease, but then you don't have to go home and fuck that person. You know what I mean? So
yes, and so when you are going home and fucking that person after you've been in this group dynamic of teasing, it's like did you really mean that? Did you you really think that those were pity laughs, or
then you have this ironic? It's like, yeah, nice ass. You're like, wait, are you serious? Or like, what's
exactly
fucking with me?
Oh, you think I've got pretty dresses? What do you mean? It can be so. I'm not sure.
I tell you what,
but it is nice lying in bed talking comedy shit as well. Oh, it is very fun analyzing how the show went. Or
I just do that to myself.
It's nice in bed though. It can be. What were you gonna say? I interrupted.
No, well, what was I gonna say? Doesn't matter. I forgot.
Shit.
It happens.
It does happen.
What are you gonna do?
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do?
No, I'm trying so hard to remember, but it doesn't come back.
No, it doesn't work like that. No.
Like...
But yeah, look, I'm not. I would really prefer to have a relationship. Like the ideal is just that someone who gets that the big thing is just someone that accepts that I am doing shows 5 nights a week minimum. Like it'll be 5 nights a week, and hopefully I can take 2 nights off a week. But probably realistically, it will be one that I'll be like, we do something tonight together special.
Look,
earlier nights.
Right now, my wife is at home with our kid. She works during the day, and I work at night, and that's what we call it. We're like, Daddy has to go to work,
Yeah.
And
what is work? work. Yeah,
It's work. You
It's
know,
work.
like this is actually how I make my money, and it's
Exactly.
work. So
Exactly.
even though this is not work, but we're kidding. But so she thought she was going to get an opera singer,
Yes.
and she ended up with a comedian.
Yes.
Both of them work at night.
Yes.
One gets paid more, and it's a classier world. You know what I mean? It's like the
Yes.
opposite of the comedy world. But
Yes.
but still, like, there's this tremendous understanding of like, okay, you have to do this thing at night, and then it sort of balances out. You kind of find your time together, and then the time that you spend together is really special.
Yeah.
Well, I remember I was going to say, it's like, I've been 10 years with my wife. I don't think I could handle dating again. I don't like. I'm looking
Okay.
at what's happening today. I don't think that that's possible.
All right. So you say, okay, this is.
First of all, I'm fat and gross, and like
You're not gross.
I'm not gross, but I'm fat. When I look at myself, I'm like, ugh, you're gross. But when I look at women, I'm like, I'm just fat. I could fuck you. I'm not like I'm able. I'm I carry it well.
Yeah.
The thing is that I've always been a very good pickup artist. I've always been able to get laid. It's never been a problem for me. But starting now and dating and getting to know people and what do you do and how do you do it, and I was like, God, it sounds like torture. I can't imagine doing it now.
It's funny you say it because last night, Sunny, you know Sunny?
Sure.
I haven't seen Sunny. Sunny's been on the podcast, and I see him at the front, and I'm like, how's your love life going? He's like, oh, I'm in a relationship now. It's been over a year. Like, I should fucking know, right? But it's cool. And he's like
You sounded so angry.
yeah. And I was like, oh, that's great. It's still working out. He's like, yeah, I'm a relationship guy. I'm like, no, you're in a relationship. Everyone's a relationship guy if they're in a good relationship for them. Like, you're a relationship. Like, there are guys who are like just single. Like, if you find a good partner, then you're a relationship guy. Oh, no, but it takes work. I'm like, yeah, mate, of course. But don't call yourself a relationship guy like you're putting yourself in this. I'm angry. Like, you're putting yourself in this different category to me because I'm single. Like, I choose to be single because I choose not to find someone who's good for me in a relationship. I was just like, fuck. I was really annoyed.
Well, he is a relationship guy, and but he also likes to end relationships. That's what the other problem is.
Yeah, he left his marriage.
He left his marriage, and now he's in a new one.
Yeah, now he's also he's a relationship guy. I'm a relationship guy. I've had more relationships than him, and like I've had long ones. It's a competition.
It's a 7-year cycle when you're in a relationship. You were together with your husband 6 years, right?
No,
How long?
my cycles are 2 years.
2-year cycle.
Like 2.5 to 3 years. Mm-hmm. Those are my cycles.
Well, I found there's always a breaking point. There's a 3-month, a 6-month, a 1.5 years, a 3-year, and then a 7-year. Those are the breaking points. And then you start again and then I don't know what goes after 7, if it's another 7 or it's an 8.5 or whatever.
Yeah.
But and then if you don't have kids after 7 years, it's over.
You reckon? No, but there are people who don't want kids.
There are people that don't want kids, but basically, I think that what ends up happening is that it's very unique that you have someone that you're deeply in love and it's a romantic relationship forever and ever, and it's one of these fucking Titanic, Jack and Rose things. You like, there's something else that needs to enter your dynamic. In order for you guys, because you guys are both changing so much, and you guys are both growing in your careers in different directions, and so having a kid, while it there are those babies that people have babies to try and save a marriage. It's not that. It's like the natural growth of a marriage.
Yeah, to bring someone else into it.
I think
that maybe
was the case for me.
That you're not gonna fuck. You're just gonna bring up.
Well.
Because some relationships, I think they start, they maybe open it up instead of having kids, or they...
Sure. I mean, and
they travel.
I know a couple that are very happy with each other, and they just after 7 years, they had an open relationship. Yeah. And now he's got a girlfriend and she's got a boyfriend. They all live together, and... Yeah, but they're still married. And
so do they all fuck together, or is it like...
I don't think they all fuck together.
It's just like
they have
they fuck, and then they fuck.
Yeah, it's not just fuck. They have relationships with these other people.
Okay, so it's proper polyamory. Yeah, that's interesting. Do you think that there are people who are you were born polyamorous or you're born monogamous? Like, because it's not just it's like sexuality in that you.
I think all people are born polyamorous. amorous.
And we choose to conform.
No, I mean we live, and thank God for that. We live in societies that are built around family structure.
Why do you say thank God for that?
I mean, I don't believe in God, but I think it's a very family structure has been very good for the human race.
Okay.
And it's helped us come forward to a great degree. Like, when you look at chimps, chimps are completely polyamorous, and the idea is that if you don't know which one is your son, everybody's going to take care of everybody, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that's why a female gorilla will have many lovers, but exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sorry if I busted.
No.
But when you look at the way that the human race has come together, this family unit as a nucleus is kind of an extreme. It's been very reliable. And with the agricultural revolution, the idea that you could have your own factory that you can rely on, that can tend your land and keep you safe and help your family grow generation after generation after generation, it makes sense, because when we existed in tribes, we would grow to about 150, then we would have to split off. But the second we settle down into one place, well, then you don't have 150 people around that you can rely on. You only have the people that are directly related to you.
Yeah.
So, that's why people had so many kids, so that they could, and also a lot more people died. But, and so from then, 10,000 years, this family structure has helped us get to where we are today.
Oh yeah, and like stability means we could, have mechanical kind of, it's like developing tools and
sure.
Yeah,
well, the agricultural revolution is the industrial revolution is the natural outgrowth of the agricultural revolution.
And then and so in terms
it
of
took 10,000 years, but
yeah, having that stability is what allows that kind of development. But you can still have stability, right? Like now it's just different. Like the thing is with the agricultural revolution or industrialization, that's when sort of power dynamics were established, and therefore the freedom of women changed in their place, and blah blah blah. And so then these kind of like love structures and social unit structures became important also just for control. And but now we're at this point where we've got we've got grounded stability. We all we live in one place mostly, or actually, and then now there's more mobility, right? Because we've got the internet and mobile jobs and home office and whatever. But yeah, so I think like the structure of the family can change, and that wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt human evolution. It would be it would just be moving forward with human evolution, right? And becoming more flexible and.
I mean, I definitely think that over the last century, things have gotten way more opportunity has been afforded to everybody in the last century than ever was before, and that is a direct outcome of the Industrial Revolution and the fact that. Men and women are much more equal now because women can control their own reproduction, which is something that never existed before. I mean, if you go back before that, the most coveted thing a woman could have is a husband. Yeah. Well, for the big reason is that a husband would mean protection. Yeah. And a husband would mean a safe life. You know what I mean? Yeah. And kids would mean a guarantee that husband would stay around and things like that. So love was a lot less a significant decision maker for many people. It was just like, well, let's see if we can make this work, sort of thing.
Let's just survive.
It's literally that. Let's just survive.
Yeah.
And because life was so fucking miserable.
Right.
I mean, for the gross majority of the population, like 99.9% of the population, life was so miserable. Up until 200 years ago, it was unbearable.
Yeah, right.
I mean, and just when I just think of the smells that the way people smelled, like they didn't bathe, they didn't brush their teeth, it was just terrible.
I wonder if people's olfactories were less sensitive because everyone just fucking stunk like shit. The person who you fell in love with probably stunk as bad as you.
Well, it's not that their biology was any different. You just accept the world you're in.
Exactly.
But for example, there was something called prima nocte. For when you were a peasant, you worked for a feudal lord. Mm-hmm. The feudal lord would sleep with the bride on her first night. It was called the first night, the
Who's-
rite of the first night,
Whose bride?
the peasant's bride.
So the peasant would
And-
get married, but the first night she has to
would
fuck
Fuck the
the
Lord.
Lord.
And the logic behind that was that, well, the Lord was first of all bathed and elegant and taken care of and groomed. That was their logic, was that, there was an ideal of like so Don Giovanni, for example, the opera is basically the hinge of that is well, there are many different storylines in there, but Don Giovanni finds this peasant bride and he fucks her.
Mm-hmm. Don Giovanni's
Or-
a lord? Oh, he's
Yeah,
a peasant, yeah, okay.
He's a lord.
Don, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And then some productions say he doesn't succeed, some productions say he does, but it doesn't matter.
Succeed at what?
At sleeping with her.
Oh, okay.
The interesting thing about Don Giovanni is that through the whole opera, he actually doesn't get laid even once. But he's supposed to be this amazing, magnificent lover of all these women. But the idea that on the first night a young girl could have sex with a clean person, because
It wouldn't be so that she gets impregnated by the Lord?
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the real reason.
That's yeah.
Also that he's a horny.
But isn't that
Bastard.
shitty that like she doesn't even get like to fuck her well, I guess there was no real love involved. It was probably just like a convenient match. But the problem is she starts with these high standards because she gets to fuck the Lord. The Lord fucks her. Mm-hmm. And so she starts with this really clean bathed guy, and then she has to
she's
sleep with
gotta
her
go
shitty fucking peasant
with
husband.
terrible skin and
Yeah.
rashes and diseases and
Or he
bad
could be like
teeth
a really hot guy.
It
that's
could
just
be. I mean, it
dirty.
happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the thing is, if you're really, and I'm sure you can relate to this. Maybe I'd say so. I've noticed, like when I'm attracted to someone, there's something pheromonal. Like they can be
Sure.
sweaty as fuck. They can,
Sure, and they can be stinky.
they can be like, but like you just don't like.
And
I
it's
can
the smell. It just gets you. Of
yeah,
course.
and it's like we haven't showered, and I still find your smell attractive.
Yep.
Like I
I remember I was when I was 21, I fell in love with a girl just by smelling her. I was just in love
yeah.
for years.
Yeah, like there's a guy in Melbourne that I like. I knew, you just know immediately when you're really into someone. Like
Sure.
there's something, the way they
There is such a
hold
thing as love
them-
at first sight.
There is, because
Totally.
it's not about just the thing is it's called love at first sight, but it's like it's the way they move, it's the chemicals that they're putting in the same air that
course.
you're in. It's all these little things, and then yeah, his smell just like he wore deodorant. We weren't in Germany, we were in Australia, but like
Why don't they wear fucking deodorant here?
Dude, oh my God. When I was in Cologne just recently, I did a German open mic and the smells in this bar, it was like, I was like, this should be elite. Like how you're in the entertainment business. How can you not know what deodorant? This is not okay.
It's not.
And this person leant their arm across me at
No,
one point.
no.
And I was already gasping. And you know when you're just so disgusted that I get to a point where I can't even hold, like, I'm just like, I was just saying audibly, like, this is disgusting. I can't believe this has happened. Like, and this person was right next to me. And then they did this. And I was so angry.
Dude. Oh, it's the worst. It's the most offensive thing in the world. And it's just wrong. It's so selfish. It's like, fucking just bathe. Just wash your pits. For Christ's sake, wash your clothes.
Like, you can't smell that bad if you've showered that morning and you've put deodorant on and you're wearing a clean shirt.
How hard is that?
It's 3 things. The thing is, you can only smell that bad if you are wearing dirty clothing. Like, I think that's the main... People don't fucking wash their clothes.
Well, the other thing, it's not that they don't wash it. They also don't have dryers here. So they hang their clothes. And their clothes don't, especially in the winter, they don't fully dry.
Oh, you reckon? Okay.
And then the clothes get sort of moldy and gross. And then every time they wash their clothes, they get that same moldy grossness. Or when they sweat in their clothes, the smells come out. And also, they're just stinky fuckers. I mean, let's face it. The summertime in the U-Bahn is just a disaster. They have this cloth chairs, you know.
I will not do anything but ride my bike in summer anymore because the U-Bahn, the trains, it just makes me so angry. Like, no matter how sweaty and how long the ride might be, like on my bicycle, it's always preferable to the level of rage that I managed to accumulate on the subway. It's unbelievable.
I was in shock because in New York, the subway is stinky, but it's stinky from one homeless guy. Whose smell literally can fill up the whole car. But the people are very clean.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, the people in New York are super clean.
Yeah.
That you shower every day. You're like...
They have the hardcore deodorant in the States that's illegal here.
Is it?
Yeah, where you like Mitchum or something. It's like 48 hours. You don't not a single drop will fall.
That's
good shit. That's what
I bring them over.
Flight attendants should be using that stuff. I agree. Bus drivers,
that Arm and Hammer or Old Spice, that stuff was good.
Oh yeah, Old Spice. I used to in Australia, but yeah, I just how did I get? Oh yeah, smelling people. Yeah, I started writing a song saying the chorus is "You smell like love to me." Because I think it's a thing. Like it's crazy. Like the smell, just it's a huge deciding factor.
It is 100%.
Yeah. How someone smells.
For sure.
But I've been recently told that I sweat a lot by one of my lovers, and
do you sweat a lot?
I guess I do. Like I don't think I sweat more than what's the average, but I do like when I just riding in a 25-degree day, 25. Yeah, when I stop, I will be wet for like a solid 10 minutes afterwards, and I'll keep producing it. Sure.
No, I'm not. I tell you what, it could be an age thing. Like people get sweatier as they get older. I don't. It could be. Like hormonal changes and things like that.
Oh.
I have never been a big sweater. I have plenty of big sweaters.
That was cute.
Yeah, but I've never. But I also haven't ever been very active. So, I've never gone on a bike ride for a 25-degree day. I could be very sweaty.
But I do sweat in bed, I guess. I don't know.
That's sexy. That's fine. I don't understand. If anybody's got a problem with that, they should commit suicide. They should commit suicide.
I don't think this person has a problem with it. They just don't sweat. This person is from Iran, and so I'm wondering. That's why I mentioned the Middle Eastern thing, because I'm just wondering: do people in the Middle East sweat less because there's just so much heat there, so they sweat differently, so they don't sweat as much?
Maybe. I don't know.
Okay, maybe we need to get a scientist's opinion.
I know that in the heat, I drink hot tea. Mm-hmm. Because that cools me down. Yeah. And my mum brought me up doing that as well, but I drink water. People get upset when I drink hot tea in the heat.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to get upset. That's India. They do that. In
yeah,
India,
I learned it from Lawrence of Arabia.
Right, but yeah, and you eat curry, and you do these.
And you sweat it out, and then you cool down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you had any group sex?
No.
Never.
Well, one time.
What was it?
Well. There were 3 of us there, 2 girls and myself.
Oh, yeah.
And it was fun but strange.
Why was it strange?
Because we didn't really know who was in charge and who it was about.
Yeah. Threes are awkward.
So like... Later, thinking about it in retrospect, if that ever happens to me again, which I doubt, like you got to choose. Okay, the person that they're the most scared about it. This has to be about them and about them having fun, Mm-hmm. And I should have been more in charge and less about me.
Yeah. Okay.
In the thing, and like it was also over way too quickly for me. Like 20 minutes, and I was like, all right, that's it? Oh, fuck. I guess
no.
So,
you couldn't, reload?
I could, but then it was too late. I did, but it was just too late. So the night continued with just the 2
one
of us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then the other one was like, all right, I guess I'm going to go home. But they left before the night.
Yeah.
Which was fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you consider that. I guess that's a group sex.
Yeah. Well, technically, group sex is.
I feel like this. Anybody who's watching this is going to be so disgusted thinking of me fucking people.
No, you've got such a low opinion of yourself. Chill. No way.
I have a very high opinion of myself. But
why do you?
You don't think I have a high opinion? You think I have
no. I think you probably have a high opinion of yourself, but you do worry about what other people think about you having...
Well, just think
sex.
about my big ass up and down, and they're seeing the folds of my fat, and they're seeing this right now in their head.
Well, you're painting it for them.
Yeah. It's pretty exciting, right?
I look like there are people who like that.
No, it's not. It's just the first place my mind goes to make fun of.
You're like the Lizzo of the Berlin comedy scene.
That's it.
There are people that are into it.
Listen, why not? I'm that bitch. You know?
Do you play the flute? That would be amazing.
No, I play the harmonica.
Oh, that's right. Do you have it with you?
I do.
You're the Lizzo of the Berlin stand-up scene. Yeah, look, no, but the thing is, like, I'm not someone that's all like, well, I think body positivity is important. I think, like, feel healthy and whatever. But there are people who like, you know,
people.
different types
Sure.
of people. Like, I see my type and I'm like, oof, you know, who would have thought? But, like, my type is not this stereotypical what society deems
Sure.
to be attractive. I think my type is very attractive. I think it's the best, but it's not this stereotypical thing. So, you know, there are different people that like different things.
I don't have a type. Isn't that strange?
And you've done the numbers game. So has the type never like filtered up to
Never.
the top?
No, I've been in love with every kind of type.
I've been in love with every kind of type, but I have a type.
Definitely don't have a type.
No. That's
Big
great.
asses, little tits, big tits, smiles, noses, tall, short, races. I've had every race.
Yeah, I've had a lot of races. I've got a certain coloring and then usually a build. But I've got like a few different types, but I've got like one that's pretty consistent. Yeah.
Never, oddly enough, never been with a Jew or a fat girl.
Really?
Yeah.
No Jews, no fat girls.
No.
I think that's the name of the episode.
No Jews, no fatties. Maybe it's just because I don't like myself.
Yeah, I think it's what it is. People who are listening to this are going to be so disgusted at thinking about
I just want the opposite of me. Let me get like
a. But that's my type as well. It's kind of the opposite of me. It's like usually darker coloring, curly black hair, like often, and like quite slight.
Okay.
Often. I have other types as well, but that's quite a regular.
Yeah, no, I can't say that I've had one type over another. But that's just because I'm a good person.
Such a good person.
I'm a good person. I'm not racist at all.
Where's the wildest place you've had sex?
On a boat in Paris.
On a boat in Paris.
What on kind a barge. It was a barge on the Seine.
A barge is like not quite a boat. Is a barge like a thing that's...
It was like an industrial boat.
Yeah, that's what I thought,
like, to carry shit.
Yeah.
And what happened was I met this girl in a cafe.
I love how quickly you answered this, yeah.
Yeah, it was a strange place. I met this girl in a cafe. I had a score of Traviata, great opera. You should check it out if it's your first.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a score, and I was studying it, and this beautiful, I didn't know she was Russian, but she was a Russian girl who was there, and she was studying acting in Paris. And, we just hit it off and started talking, and because I was only there for 3 days for an audition, and this was my second day there, so we had like a crazy afternoon, evening, night, and then we got we were just like, well, this has got to happen. We were walking on the Seine, and she pulled me onto this boat, and we fucked on the boat.
Was there something
amazing.
covering you from the
We were
public?
inside a boat.
You were inside the boat?
Yeah, it was open.
It was just open?
It was just open.
And was it on like a little... Like,
on the floor.
On the floor. Just on the floor.
Well, I was laying down, and, I'm big enough, so it was...
I don't know the timestamp of your body. But okay, you're saying
I was smaller than I am now, but not much. I mean, I'm a big guy anyway, so...
You're tall and broad.
Yeah, so... But...
so you lay down, and she rode you on the barge, on the Seine.
It was great. And then she showed me her gun.
Her gun?
She had a gun.
She had a gun?
Yeah.
What kind of gun?
It was a pistol, like a snub-nosed revolver.
In her handbag?
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I was like, why do you have that? She's like, well, Paris, They just say a few words in Russian and they get scared.
What the fuck?
And it was loaded, and she pointed it at me And I was like, "You're great."
Oh my God, that is crazy.
Then I saw her the next time I came to Paris, and we had like a nice week together. And then I think I went away, and then I think I hadn't been in Paris in many years after that, and she had gotten into a relationship and whatever. She's a nice girl, you know.
What like? Wow,
Pretty wild, right?
that's crazy.
On a
like
barge.
It
wasn't even a boat. Like, it was just like a rusted barge.
Fuck yeah! I went on one of those. Have you done those little foot pedal little boats?
Yes.
I did that yesterday randomly with a guy that I'm seeing, and very random. And
Of course, a guy that you're seeing.
Of course,
or
I know.
just a guy.
It could have been just a guy, but no, it was the most like platonic hangout we've had. Anyway, we were riding past one of those barges, and I was like, "What do you think that thing does?" And now I can imagine fucking on
Me
one.
fucking on that boat.
Now I want to
Well,
fuck on
now
a
you
barge.
fuck on the barge.
I want to fuck somewhere crazy. I haven't fucked anywhere crazy for a while.
By the way, Paris at night is what? Why?
Super sexy, no?
Well, here's the thing. New York at night, at least the New York I know what New York is like now, but New York when I was there, it's such a safe city. You always feel safe. There's always police. There's always people, right?
Yes.
If you're going on Rive Gauche in Paris at night, there are marauding hordes of young men.
Yeah.
And it's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I wouldn't go along there. Like, but I guess like
You know?
in the cute areas. Actually, yeah, Paris didn't feel that safe when I was there
It
at
does
nighttime.
not feel safe at night.
It feels romantic at dusk.
Yeah.
That's when it feels.
No,
yeah.
it's very romantic, and
The whole
sometimes
time,
you
yeah.
can, you know. But I was in Saint-Germain when I met this girl, which is beautiful. I mean, it was like a movie. It was great.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm looking forward to going to Paris because the only time I've been, I had a boyfriend at the time. He was somewhere else, and I was with my brother. So I want to fuck in Paris. Basically.
Okay, that's the.
I'm putting it out there. I'm gonna manifest. I'm gonna fuck in Paris.
In gay Paris.
In gay Paris. Yeah.
But not women, probably.
No, like if one jumps into the mix,
Or maybe a woman with a penis.
or maybe a woman with a penis. Exactly.
That's a good place to find them.
It could be.
You know.
Yeah, like I much prefer. Like, I'd like to fuck a man and someone who identifies as a man.
Sure.
And that's what gets me excited. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I say I'd like to fuck a woman with a penis, but I guess it's more like if I ended up having a threesome with a woman again, which it will happen again, it'd be nice if she had a penis. So I'd like 2 dicks in the next threesome I have, is what I'm saying. And one of them could belong to someone who identifies as a woman.
2 dicks, 4 tits. It doesn't get better than that.
Exactly.
You know?
And like yeah, exactly. And still having it as a 2-girl, 1-guy threesome, but 2 dicks. You know, like everyone's happy.
What do we call this episode?
I thought it was
No Jews, no fatties?
yes. 4 tits, 2 dicks.
4 tits, 2 dicks. 1 threesome, 4 tits,
4
2
tits,
dicks.
2 dicks. That's a good one too.
Good name for a special.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's probably not very good for social media.
4 tits, 2 dicks, but you need to be like a duo. Maybe you and a no, but even then, 4 tits, 4 tits, we are 2
dicks. Yeah, we're two tits, 2 dicks.
You're 2 tits, yeah, 2 dicks, yeah.
Yeah,
Eyal doesn't have titties.
No, he was he was fat.
I can imagine.
He was a fat kid,
but
and he lost weight. Good for him.
He looks like. I've dated enough men who were fat when they were a kid. Like he looks like
he looks like he was a fat kid. Yeah. He's nice like a fat kid.
He what, like a fat kid?
He's nice.
He's nice like a fat kid. Yeah. I was a bit chubby.
You were,
but I was never fat.
No,
I was chubby. I just always had big cheeks. And I'm
yeah,
never
you're cheeky.
I'm cheeky, but I've never been like skinny either. So it was like just that I was a little bit. I've always.
But you're in good shape now. You're skinny.
But I've always had. But I'm not like a skinny person.
No,
that's the thing. Like I've always had roundness.
That's good though.
It is what it is.
I mean, I don't have a type, but.
But it's all I'm saying is like I've never been skinny, but so there's been periods where it's like I'm a little bit chubby, but never fat. No.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I've been skinny once.
You been skinny once?
Yeah, when I was 21, I lost all the weight, and then slowly but surely it comes back.
How did you lose all the weight? Was it
depression?
Or?
No. I just decided to do it.
Okay.
And I ate a very particular diet. Just very strict, 3 meals a day and 2 snacks, and I exercised 45 minutes a day. And what do you know?
Okay.
It fucking worked.
It worked.
Yeah, in 8 months, I lost I don't know what it is in kilo, but I lost probably 50 kilo.
Wow.
In a year.
Wow.
And so then...
Did you lose a lot of joy as well?
Yes, I was really unhappy.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think
I'm a happy man.
Yeah, like
I mean, I have a short temper.
That's they don't exclude each other, but like the thing is, you could be really skinny. Like people can be really skinny, but it's like I really enjoy eating that, and I really enjoy drinking that, and I really,
course.
like the amount of pressure.
I mean, I don't like that it's very unhealthy, but.
I'm becoming self-conscious.
Don't.
No.
Because,
I like my
should
body.
Accept yourself.
I enjoy. I should touch myself. Yeah. Okay. Let's do some final things. So like anything that you thought of on the adults only spectrum that you'd like to bring up. We're not in a hurry.
Anything on the adults only spectrum that I want to bring up?
Yeah. Is there any topic that you think would?
Well. I don't know if I should. Okay, there was one time I said the N-word on stage, and you were I could see you in the audience. You were like, why did you do that? Yes. You were so upset. I could see the disappointment in your face.
Yeah.
You were so, and I had a feeling like that's why you want to talk to me, really. No, but that's just my own thing.
Okay, yeah, that's your thing. I really like. The thing is, like, you're from the States, so for me, like, for a lot of Europeans who drop the N-word that aren't of African descent, I like Europeans, it's like, all right, you're so far removed from why this is not okay that I give it a little bit of like a ignorant leeway. It's like the number of times I'm like, yeah, I speak Japanese, and they're like, you speak Chinese? Just so far removed from that part of the world, and so I'm a little bit more.
They're just ignorant.
Exactly, it's just
malicious.
It's very Whereas you're from New York, and for you to drop it, and you're doing it in a joke, and I understand that it was a joke thing, but it's like. I just don't see it as like I love to say in my own little space with private people the F word. I think faggot is extremely funny. And the thing is, like, and I just said it, but I
say it on stage all the time. I sing a whole song about
it. But the thing is, like, I say it less scared because it's like, well, I have had sex with women.
Sure.
And I will continue to be open to that. And so I've had
sex with black people, too.
But having sex with black people doesn't make you a black person.
Of course.
Having sex with women does make me homosexual. Yes, and so faggot is a word for prejudiced word for. I know you don't need me to explain that, but just to flesh out the idea, it's just it's a derogatory term for people that are homosexual. So because I can definitely be identified as that. I will use it, but I don't like using it in spaces that are outside my close friendship circle. Like a punch up, for example, the other day I really wanted to shout out faggot, and I didn't because I was like, I don't want, because people don't know who I am and what my position is here. I don't want to hurt anyone because it is upsetting. Now, but the N-word, I will just never.
Sure.
Never.
It's I was thinking a lot about it. And I don't know if I can say that I regret saying it or not. I said to myself, look, there's no one here that's going to be offended by this right now. So maybe I'm a coward, which is very possible. And whether it's right or wrong to say, it's wrong. It's a bad word to say. But what's interesting to me is that the word itself, has a lot of different powers. Right? It's a magic word.
It is a magic word.
It's a word that, the reason that I can't say it is because is a black person's power over me. Right? That community was so powerless for so long that now they have this word. And the second that I say it, I've taken away their power. But in metaphorically speaking. But actually, I haven't taken away their power at all. And if me saying a word takes away their power, what kind of power is that anyway? Sort of thing. In this particular case, the joke I made was referring to the Will Smith and Chris Rock thing.
Yeah.
And I grew up in a place where that word was used all the time.
Yeah.
I grew up with another derogatory, Guidos, in New York.
In Australia, it's wogs.
Wogs. So there were no black people around, and that word was used all the time.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting to me to see what happened and immediately think of that word.
Yeah.
Which, I believe that everybody is racist. And it's what you do with that makes you a real racist or not. But underlying, it's part of our biology to have stereotypical, tribal, kind of prejudicial opinions about groups of people and different people.
Definitely.
And whether you can keep that in check is whether you're a racist or you're not.
Absolutely.
So it was interesting to me that that's the first thing that came in my head.
The first thing that came into your head was regarding Chris Rock and Will Smith. The first thing that came into your head was what
I saw the slap and I said, fucking,
Fucking, okay. Mm-hmm.
Right? And that's the thing that came in, and that's the thing that was like, wow, that's fucking crazy.
How
ingrained is it in my head? On the other hand, I will say that I saw, like, I lived in Harlem for a long time. I lived in Brooklyn, I lived in New York, and I lived with black people a lot.
Yeah.
I saw that shit happen all the time. All the time.
You mean violence against, like...
Two black dudes getting into something, and one guy beating the shit out of another one.
Yeah.
And when I got into someone's face, and that happens to me a lot because I have a short temper, it never went that way. With a black dude, it went plenty of ways with a white dude. Where I got into a fight or whatever.
But you never had fights with black dudes, as well.
No, and I'm sure there is a racial component there where they're like, a white guy and a black guy, and if we get in trouble, then I'm going to be the one that gets fucked and whatever.
Absolutely.
But that visual of two black dudes fighting was such a part of my fundamental growing up in America.
Yeah, and so therefore it's...
And I'm not apologizing for... I'm not making excuses for saying the N-word. I'm also not apologizing for saying the N-word. But and there's a reason I'm saying the N-word now and not the actual word.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
But by the way, I have lots of black friends. And I have black friends, some of which have no problem with us saying it in a group. And some black friends that it would hurt them immensely. And for them it's a very sore subject. And so, just the same way you wouldn't call someone who's sensitive about their weight a fucking fat fuck, it's a way that you could call me a fat fuck and it wouldn't bother me. You know what I mean?
Yep, totally.
I can kind of you can be subjective about how you use your language.
Yeah, I guess it's just for you say it on, I guess that anecdote, like that anecdote of the first thing you thought of, that it's funny and but I think like the best audience for that is probably your black friends who you can say that word in front of, and not necessarily a room full of European non-black people.
I did say it actually to the black friends that are okay with it.
Yeah,
and they laughed.
Exactly, and I think that's, and I guess it's about audience, and it's about the appropriateness of the audience, and in that moment. When you did it, when I was there, it was like... I
just saw so much like...
yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and I think that's why you did it. You did it as well because you wanted to see.
I wanted to try. I'm
you
like,
wanted to
now
see
is
it.
the time to try. Now is the time to try.
Yeah, and you did it, and I think... And I could also understand, like, just that feeling of, like, I'm not allowed to do this thing. But then there's the after thing of going, okay, actually, and seeing everyone's reaction, and it's not that... everyone's reaction is always right, but that there is an audience for those things. And if you've got this group of people that you can say that, like you can use that word in front of, and they have ownership of that word too. Yes, but to a room full of Europeans who don't get where you've come from and don't know,
Sure.
And a lot of them just they don't.
Well, there's only so much you can relay through one joke and one experience.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. Going back, if I would do it again, probably I would do it again. Going forward, like if this was, it wasn't a very smart thing to say, or it wasn't a very. There was just something that occurred to me.
Yeah.
And if there was something more interesting there, I would talk about it.
Yeah, and I think it's all about the classic Anna comment, but it's all about the messaging, and it's all about like what are you achieving with this, and with the whenever you're doing something that is potentially offensive, that whole contextualizing it so people know as much as possible about what your perspective is. Like I've got the joke about eating pussy being like eating sushi in a Vietnamese restaurant, or about like wanting to be bisexual. And I had a very, politically active, queer spokesperson be like, you talking about wanting to be bisexual is really offensive. And it's like, well, you're suggesting that you can choose it and you can, and that you haven't felt any you haven't been discriminated against. And it's like, well, and so I was like, okay, I'm going to take this on. And so I've written this, I wrote this one sentence that changes the whole way that joke is received by queer audiences. And that's the sentence of, I wanted to be bisexual so much because regular hetero slut shaming wasn't enough. I wanted to experience homophobia too. And just by acknowledging the fact that there is discrimination, acknowledging the fact that I've got my own pain as well, acknowledging all of that stuff, all of a sudden I'm not ridiculing or belittling different types of sexuality, or I'm not making. And so like if this is something that you want to develop it, I guess it's just writing in there your special perspective and how you're not actually taking away someone's power.
Yeah. I mean, it is. If I say that word, it is taking away someone's power.
It is. And so,
so-called power.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's arguable whether that word is a power that community has, or it's a weakness.
Yeah, well, I think it's. I'd say it's more of
a. If I have power over you by getting you not to say something, then that is a certain kind of power, but it's also a sensorial kind of power that actually doesn't give you anything. It doesn't make you any stronger by shutting down someone's speech.
Sure, but at the same time, it's like that word was, the white person's word.
Sure.
And it's a reclamation.
There's no doubt about it that it's extremely hurtful and painful.
Yeah, but just in the sense of like, it's just a word that like. If
they
could eradicate it.
Like, and by the way, I would not. I don't think I would. I mean, you never know. I don't think I would ever call someone that in a derogatory sense, or even a friendly sense.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But the world changes.
But then there are Europeans who are so confused and so ignorant that I've met Italians who are like, "What's up, mate?" And it's like, "Whoa."
Sure.
What are you thinking?
Well, I called someone a mashugana the other day.
A what?
A mashugana.
A mashugana? What's a mashugana?
Mashugana is a Yiddish word for crazy.
Ah, okay.
So that's what I start calling Jews.
Mashuganas.
Yeah. What's up, Mashugana?
Mashugana.
And someone heard it and they got really upset.
They speak Hebrew?
Well, it just sounds a little bit too much. So they thought I said the other thing.
Oh. Well, that's the same as the German word, the digger.
Another one.
Yeah, digger. That's problematic.
Problematic. All right.
Very problematic. Let's wrap this up. This has been super fun. Can you plug your stuff?
Follow us at 2 Jews Comedy for all sorts of Jewy goodness and other stuff. And that's on Instagram and Facebook and all the socials. And we're doing lots of shows all around Europe. My partner and I, we have a group called 2 Jews. When I say we, he's not here. I know it's strange, but we're doing shows all across Europe: Vienna, Prague, Hamburg, and we're going to be coming all over Scandinavia.
You're going to be coming all over it.
Well, we're going to be coming on Scandinavia. Don't tell my wife. That's it.
Amazing. I should get Eyal on the next one.
Yeah, get him. It's going to be a very short conversation.
It'll be fun.
No, but for instance, talk to him about Israel and Palestine.
Exactly.
Would be really interesting.
And also about
because he's got a lot to say and he's a very good debater.
Yeah. I want to, and also we had our speaking of being offended by jokes, one of his songs. I've had strong words with him, deep words with him about it.
Good.
And it'd be nice to maybe bring that up on the podcast as well.
Yeah, get him on. For sure.
Cool. Well,
thank you so much for having me.
It's been such a fucking pleasure. Yeah. That has been Adult Only Comedy Berlin. AF Barros is the Instagram you need to follow. See you next time. Thank you so much. Goodbye.